Let's go back to the Clank and Jenkins matter. Ms. Jenkins, you just received service yesterday?
Yes, sir.
All right. And do you want a continuance? Do you want to proceed today? You tell me.
I guess I would like to proceed.
Your Honor, we're not ready to proceed because she hadn't been served. We'd like it. She should have opportunity to be able to adequately respond.
I would need to hire a public defender.
Okay, well, we don't provide public defenders in non-criminal matters. This is a non-criminal matter. So if you want counsel, that's fine, but you'll have to retain counsel yourself.
We're here over a matter of her embezzling funds, and she has left me none to hire an attorney. So whatever you recommend.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that. You have the choice to recommend counsel or to retain counsel or not retain counsel. That's your choice. I see, generally speaking, what this is about. We're talking about an estate, and
I just want to say how sorry I am. And I truly am. And I take full responsibility. It won't ever happen again.
Okay, and by again, you mean threats made to...
I will never try to contact her ever again. This morning, I tried to delete her emails and phone numbers, and it accidentally rang through. I instantly disconnected, but I have deleted all of her contacts. This has been an 8-year ordeal, and closure is everything at this point.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Carr's service in this case was personal, by mail?
Personal.
Thank you. And the relationship between Ms. Clank and Ms. Jenkins is what?
He was the executor of my husband's will.
Okay. But outside of that, there's no personal relationship, no familial relationship.
No, Your Honor.
No, there was.
Well, I understand that there was. Okay, I understand that there may have been a relationship, but there's not one by family or blood.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
No, we don't live in the same towns. We won't see each other. I will never. They were empty, emotional threats, just 20 or 4 hours after we went to court, and I was awarded, and you would think that I would have been very happy, but I was so sad.
Yeah, we're okay, Mr. Carr.
I was so sad to hear that the truth was it was all lies, and I just believed everything she ever told me. And I told her at the very beginning, if you had nothing to worry about, if you didn't do anything wrong, you had nothing to worry about. But just 2 days prior to me making the phone call that I made, which is just one long phone call, one long text, I told her that she was a monster and that I was going to tell everyone that she was a robber. She was a person that manipulates and steals. I promised to leave it alone. I want closure in my life. I just recently buried my husband with his military headstone. This family wants closure from her. We've been turned off.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you. And Suzanne, if you can hear me, I'm very sorry. I truly am.
Okay, right now, Ms. Jenkins, just direct your comments to me.
Thank you.
She heard you say that.
I truly mean it. I work for Washington State Department of Revenue. And I'm scared that I could lose my job or something really bad could happen. I promise to never, ever.
Ms. Jenkins, I am going to enter the order in this case. The order will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. Ms. Clank, if you want it renewed, you'll have to come back to court and ask for it to be renewed. Ms. Jenkins has made clear she has no intention to have any further contact with you. And Ms. Jenkins, that's what the order says, is you're to have no contact with Ms. Clank. You're not to go within 1,000 feet of her residence or workplace. And I've signed this order. It will be available to both of you in your electronic files at district court. So,
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
Thank you both very much.
I promise.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you.
There we go. Does it work?
Okay, now we have you. Yep, thank you. And Mr. Andrews, I read the file in this case, and I understand there's a criminal charge, and you filed a notice of appearance on behalf of Ms. Anderson in that case, and also in this case. What are your thoughts on proceeding on the order? I'll ask you, as Ms. Anderson.
Your Honor, I don't know if your audio just cut out, so I didn't hear what you said. Cheyenne, why the court fixed the audio? Can you turn the video on also? Now I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Landaker, if you'll come back up, please. There we go. Let's keep your video on throughout the hearing. And what I was indicating, Mr. Andrews, is that having read the file, I'm aware that Ms. Andrews has been charged with harassment in the city of Lacey. You've made an appearance on behalf of her in that charge, as well as in this case. Are you expecting Ms. Anderson to testify today? What's your position on the request for the protection?
Your Honor, it would be a request that we continue this matter for several reasons. One, I haven't served the respondent, and I need to do so, and I need a email address to be able to serve the respondent. Secondarily, to determine whether or not there are any Fifth Amendment issues present for purposes of determining whether or not we go forward, or if it's prudent to file a motion to stay the proceedings, the civil harassment order, pending the disposition of the criminal matter.
Thank you.
Where I did read the petition, and I have, I believe, the police report, and they do appear to overlap.
All right. Thank you. Yes, I've read both of those.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And let me just ask, Mr. Andrews, since you're the one who raised this issue, I'm being told that we are receiving reports of a concern with the audio. Is it echoing, or are you able to hear clearly what I'm saying?
I'm able to hear. It's just echoing.
All right. Hopefully folks can now understand what I'm saying. All right, Mr. Landaker, as I suspect you are aware, Ms. Anderson has been charged with the crime of harassment. That there's a case pending in the city of Lacey, and she's asked through Mr. Andrews, her attorney, not to proceed on this, since potentially this would, statements made here could be used in her criminal trial. The request is to reset this matter, which I am inclined to do. Do you have any objection to doing that? The protection order would remain in effect for that purpose.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Andrews, looks like arraignment is on the 6th of June. I'm going to put this out 2 weeks. We'll be back here on the 10th of June and try to get a understanding of how we're going to proceed in this matter. So I'll reset a date 2 weeks from now.
That would be medium, Your Honor.
Okay, so it'll be 9 o'clock in the morning. I suspect on that date, it will be a courtroom 3 Zoom appearance as opposed to courtroom 4, which it is today. So that will be the one difference.
Thank you very much.
All right, and so Ms. Anderson and Mr. Landaker, the temporary order that had previously been issued by Commissioner Wool, that order remains in effect in the same terms through the next hearing on the 10th of June at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right.
Thank you,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Landaker. Thank you, Mr. Andrews. Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We continue this matter based on the ongoing criminal charge. Mr. Andrews, what's Ms. Anderson's position here?
Your Honor, based on the arraignment, reading what I've been provided so far, I'm going to ask the court to allow us to continue this out until the second week of August. Basically, I'm making a motion. I'm asking the court to stay the proceedings, keep the temporary order in place. In the City of Lacey matter, they actually referred to this order being in place. And given the fact that they didn't issue a separate order, I'm just going to ask that the court keep the temporary order in place, set a hearing for the second week of August. I'm going to be dealing with the criminal case. And then if we decide to go forward in contesting the action here, I believe that we would be ready to do so. And I do have already have retrieved some information that I think that the court should be aware of for purposes of making a decision on a matter such as this. And we would include briefing for the court.
Thank you. And Mr. Landaker, your thoughts on continuing with the current order and postponing the full hearing until August?
I do not feel that it needs to be postponed. I feel like it just needs to be set in place due to the fact of the case going against the City of Lacey at this time. During this whole situation that happened, I feel like it'd be better just to have this set in place so that if something were to happen during this process of the case that, say, she didn't like, I would like to have this protection order in place so that nothing has happened and everything's covered.
Okay. Well, I mean, the protection order is in place. There's nothing.
Correct. And then I mean, like with the no contact and everything as well.
Okay. Well, but that's my point, is that the order that the court previously entered or initially entered in this case would remain in effect until whenever the hearing is scheduled. The only change would be, it would be at that point we make a decision as to whether to continue that order or not. But between now and then, the order remains in effect. So is there any objection to stalling the final decision? You get the protection order up until that point.
No, Your Honor.
And then, Your Honor, if I could get the petitioner's email address so I can also serve him, because I did not have any way of serving him. And I think that I'd rather go through email rather than a process server.
All right. Thank you. And Mr. Landaker, if you're willing to provide Mr. Andrews with your email address and the documents he wants to submit to the court, he can also submit to you so that you see them. And if you want to put it in chat, you can go ahead and do that if you don't want to indicate it over Zoom here. We'll make it the 12th of August.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep. All right. We'll see both parties on the 12th of, pardon me, the 12th of August through this same process. You can either appear in person or you can appear on Zoom. Thank you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
And Your Honor, that's my only matter. May Ms. Anderson and I be excused.
I have, see, Mr. Andrews and your client, Mr. Landaker. Or someone representing Mr. Landaker?
Your Honor, Ray Canine, Rule 9 for Mr. Andrews, and we're representing Cheyenne Anderson, not Mr. Landaker.
Okay, and your name is Kuneen, is it?
Canine, that's right, Your Honor.
Thanks, all right. And so have you heard from Mr. Andrews?
I'm the Rule 9 for Mr. Andrews, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got that backwards then. Okay, sorry. So you're representing Gavin Landaker?
No, Your Honor, I'm representing Cheyenne Anderson.
And we have it backwards here. Okay, on my calendar, I should just look into the court file. All right, and is the petitioner Gavin Landaker present either on Zoom or in court? Petitioner, Mr. Gavin Landaker? Gavin Landaker, are you present? I see you there. Okay. Yes, all right, so we got everybody here on that matter. All right, and then Mr. Kuneen is here on behalf of Ms. Anderson. Cheyenne Anderson's present as well. And Mr. Kuneen, can you put on the record your permission from the Supreme Court to actually represent Ms. Anderson as a Rule 9?
Yes, Your Honor. For the record, Ray Canine, Rule 9 for Attorney of Record Nicholas Andrews on behalf of Cheyenne Anderson. Do you need my Rule 9 number as well?
Yep.
Give me one moment to pull my card up here.
Okay, and then I have to ask you also, just so you don't run into trouble, so gotta make sure you don't. Have you appeared as a Rule 9 under supervision in a trial before?
Not in a trial specifically, Your Honor.
Okay, this is essentially a trial, so you have to be supervised for the first one. I know that We talk about bench trials and jury trials, but I don't think I can allow you to do this without supervision with you. Do you have a supervising attorney available to also
Sure.
at least be there or observe?
I can have him hop on, Your Honor, if you want to come back to us in about 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Hi, Mr. Andrews.
I wasn't on earlier. I was at the doctor's. I'm not feeling great.
Sorry, you sound awful, and I'm sorry to put you in here. I lost Mr. Canine. Is he still with us? There he is.
He's on.
Coming in. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I'm just concerned about the Rule 9 requirements, and if this is a trial, essentially, it's a bench trial, and so he needs to have supervision for the first one he does, unless he's done one before with a supervising attorney, then he doesn't. But I just don't want him to walk into troubles with his Rule 9 certification. And I kind of have that obligation. So are you, Mr. Andrews, then, are you the supervising attorney for Mr. Canine or one of them?
Yeah, I am the supervising attorney, Your Honor. And I should have thought or anticipated that, given that we were just asking to continue the matter out. I had not really thought about it from the context of the trial setting situation.
Oh, I didn't realize we were doing, that was a request. So we hadn't gotten that far, I guess. I sort of cut you off, Mr. Canine. I'm sorry. Well, Mr. Andrews, while I got you here, on behalf of your client, your request is what?
I had messaged Mr. Canine this morning, asked him to set the matter over, given that I wasn't feeling well, as in addition to the fact that Miss Anderson has a hearing, I believe, 1 week from today on the criminal matter that is entirely in line with the facts of this matter. I was going to ask the court to set this over to the 26th. That way we could have a better idea of what is going to happen in the criminal matter.
Okay, I see that set August 19th. Actually, next Monday?
Next Monday, Your Honor.
Okay, City of Lacey case. Okay. All right. So your request after the 19th or even after, because this is also set for trial August 28th.
Our case here today?
Harassment case in the City of Lacey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, correct.
So
yes. So if we could set it for the week of the 3rd sometime.
That would be the 3rd, that Tuesday morning.
Yeah, we could do that morning.
So Mr. Landaker, this is what the request is from Ms. Anderson and her attorney, is to not have the hearing today, to set it to September 3rd. Instead, there is, you're not represented. So the things you say here, you would be under oath on a recording, and it could be potentially used against you in your criminal case. You're not being compelled to testify. You could say, I don't want to say anything, and that's fine. But if you do say something, you have to understand that you put yourself at risk for having that information used against you in a criminal case. So setting this over past the criminal case is a thought. Doesn't have to happen, but that's the request of Ms. Anderson. And so any comment as this setting this over?
We can go ahead and go with the continuance.
All right. So September 3rd, good?
In the one thing I was going to have Mr. Canine address is the Miss Anderson's an EMT, and apparently I don't know where Mr. Landaker works, but apparently she has to go to Cheyenne. Can you remind me where it is that you have to go?
So I pick up and transport patients to Mr. Landaker's place of work. He works at the telecare in Thurston County.
And so I was going to ask if the court would have any issue with putting an exception for Miss Anderson being able to pick up and drop off at that location for her employment.
Okay. And Mr. Andrews, so the charge, let me be sure I understand the Lacey charge real quick here. That is charged against your client or against Mr. Landaker?
No, my client, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Landaker, there's a request right now. The order that has been issued, the temporary order, says that Ms. Anderson stays 1,000 feet away from wherever you work and your person and your residence, your vehicle, and your workplace. So the request here, and you work at Telecare. Where's that? Do you know the address?
It's by St. Pete's.
Okay, it's by St. Pete's. The request here is that how would you word that, Mr. Andrews or Mr. Ganine, whoever wants to take, how would you ask the court to change the order so that Mr. Landaker knows what your motion is?
It'd be to allow for Miss Anderson to be within the proximity of that address for purposes of employment only, and to not seek out any contact from Mr. Landaker.
Right. So, Mr. Landaker, what do you think about that change to this order?
I would not be in agreement with it, as I do the intakes for Telecare. And so I take in admissions from the EMTs, and that would interfere with me going in direct contact.
Okay. All right. So you're the front facing counter, and so there would be necessity for the EMT
Correct.
to come in there.
Correct.
Right there.
I go
All
and
right.
take the client from the EMTs and go with them and sign off on paperwork. So
Okay. And Mr. Anderson, then all right. So Mr. Anderson, and this impacts your client's employment, or let's see. Is there any work around that? So
Miss Anderson, you ride in teams of two, correct?
Yes, there's two EMTs on a rig. I don't have to talk to Mr. Landaker. I have a partner that can do all the talking. Half the time we just drop the patient off in the center place. There's no communication most of the time with the intake person. And if there is communication, I can have my partner do that and I can walk away. But in that case, I don't have to have any communication.
So the patient would be on a gurney. You'd be rolling them in together to
Yes,
Telecare, and one of
Yes,
you
ma'am.
would contact for the administrative duties, and the other would simply stay with the patient until someone else takes over on the patient.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I take it it's probably pretty close proximity. How
I would
close do
say
you
so.
think?
It's
Mr.
within a room.
Landaker, how close are you usually behind the desk to people on gurneys? How close is that, Mr. Landaker?
we're in the same hallway. I have to take them down through the whole facility to a locked gate, to a locked door to go into a seclusion area with the EMTs.
So you're the one who takes over on the person on the gurney.
Correct.
And so then you solely take them, or the EMTs?
No, I walk the EMTs to the room where we transfer custody of the detained clients.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we're talking about setting this to September 3rd, which is 3 weeks away. What I'm going to do is not change this order. I'm going to leave it the way it is. And the court did find enough to issue this temporary order, and it does impact, but I'm going to leave the order the way it is. That'll stay in effect until September 3rd, the end of that hearing. So I'll do an order to that effect. It'll be in the court file for everyone to access. No service is necessary. You all know about that hearing, September 3rd, 9 o'clock. And then just making a note here. And all of this will be in the court file. So if there's anything more that you want the court to know about, anything more to file with the court, I want that in no later than the 26th, August 26th. So You don't have to file anything more, but if there's something either side wants to file, have it in by August 26th so that the court can have a chance to review things and the other side can have a chance to review. All right. So that's it for today. Anything else, Mr. Andrews, on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor, thank you. And
Okay.
again, I apologize.
No, people get sick. I'm sorry to put you through that. Sorry to Mr. Cuneen. Maybe next time we'll talk.
Yes, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Landaker, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So Mr. Anderson, Mr. Landaker, Mr. Cuneen, Mr. Andrews, you can all leave the meeting.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a wonderful day.
Is there Gavin, is it Landaker? If I'm saying that name correctly? Mr. Andrews, I see you're here for Ms. Anderson, but I'm looking at Landaker. Is he not in court? Doesn't appear to be on the call. And I see Mr. Andrews, you're here for Ms. Anderson?
Yes, Your Honor, correct.
Okay, so we'll give, actually, it's close to 9:15. We'll give him, I read you filed a number of things in response. Were those sent to him?
I believe they were served upon him. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll just wait. If he doesn't appear before too long, then the order will be denied and the case will be dismissed. Oh, actually, he's trying to join in right now. So, okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And can you activate your camera, please?
And why Mr. Landaker does that, Your Honor, I need to let the court know that I don't believe Mr. Landaker was served these documents as we were not able to get some of these declarations signed until I believe Friday. And so we did not have an opportunity to serve Mr. Landaker. I do believe, given the amount of information that we did provide, it would be prudent to allow Mr. Landaker to review those documents. I also wanted to let the court know that there's the criminal charge that's still pending that relates to and directly stems from this incident. The prosecutor reached out to me while I was out of the office last week traveling and wanted to speak with me and potentially arrange a call with Mr. Landaker to see if both of these matters can be resolved by way of an out-of-court agreement. And so I think given the circumstances, Your Honor, it would be appropriate to continue this matter one additional time to see if such a resolution can be reached with Mr. Landaker.
And then Ms. Anderson, can you come on the Zoom call, please?
I'm here, Your Honor.
Thank you. And so, Mr. Landaker, did you hear that?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And so did you get that information? There was a number of things that were filed late in this case. Did you get all that information there from Mr. Andrews there?
I did not receive anything. I did get reached out from the prosecutor referring to the criminal case, and I arranged with the prosecutor that I would like to set a agreement with Cheyenne's attorney. So I was waiting on a call for that.
What the attorney suggested is to reset this a couple of weeks, and then, or again, it's up to you folks how long you want to reset it for. And then we could go 2 weeks is kind of what we normally do, but as you just saw, we have a little bit more flexibility in that. When do you think it would be? There's a temporary editor. We just reissued the temporary and set a hearing, and you can pick the dates. It'll be on a Monday morning.
Can we do? I am completely conflicted on the 16th. If we have something in advance of the 23rd, Your Honor, would the court entertain us entering an order ex parte?
I think it'd be better to do it on the record if there's some sort of order. It's going to be how do you feel? How does the 23rd look for you?
I'm open on the 23rd. I know this has had some employment issues with Miss Anderson being able to fulfill her job, and I don't know if Mr. Landaker is open to allowing Miss Anderson to. Mr. Landaker works at a facility. Miss Anderson is a EMS responder, and due to that, Miss Anderson can't transport people to the facility that Mr. Landaker works at.
So what are you asking to have happen today? Or is this with future scheduling, or do you want some adjustment order made to the order today?
If Mr. Landaker is accepting of Miss Anderson being able to be at his work facility for her work purposes only, I was going to ask the court if they could inquire with Mr. Landaker regarding that. Mr.
Landaker, what say you?
I would be in disagreement of that, as I
so again, you can stop right there. So we'll reset it for September 23rd, and then if you come some agreement, you can get it in front of the court before then. But we're not going to, unless in the absence of a full hearing, we're not going to litigate all that now.
Understood, Your Honor. I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. And so this will be set for the 23rd at 9 a.m. Notice will get sent to each party. And then, Mr. Andrews, are you going to be able to get to Mr. Landaker his, he may have an email you could.
I was going to ask Mr. Landaker, rather than go through a process server, or is it okay if we email you any documents that we filed?
I believe I provided you my email last time. If
you did, and I just wanted to confirm that that was still acceptable to you.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. And can I just confirm once more your email address?
411@gmail.com.
Thank you very much, Mr. Landaker.
Okay, we'll see you all back here on the 23rd. Mr. Landaker, Mr. Andrews, Ms. Anderson, and anyone else associated with this case, you're free to go.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You going to be able to do that there, Mr. Landaker? Not 100% necessarily, particularly there you are. So Mr. Andrews, who's here on behalf of Ms. Anderson, tells me that there's an agreement worked out where everybody's in agreement that this is just going to be dismissed. Is that your understanding as well?
Correct.
All right. So based on that, I guess I'll be enter a denial order, and then this will be dismissed. And I'll do this at the end of the calendar. And you both are free to go. I'm going to enter that order at the end of the calendar. You should be able to get it. I'm not going to take the time to do it right now. You should be able to get that off the district court website either later this morning or early this afternoon if you need it.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All three of you are free to go.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Landaker.
All right, Ms. Meyer, the two of you are neighbors, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And Tony and Makia are third graders?
My son Tony is second grade.
Tony is second grade?
Yes. Yes.
And Makai, I'm sorry, is third grade, is that correct, Ms. Hartfield?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So my reading of what two of you have filed essentially is that you each claim the other child. I'm assuming they're both boys, or one is, you each are claiming the other child was the one bullying your child. That's in essence what I'm hearing. Is that correct? Ms. Meyer?
Yes.
Do you agree? That's okay. All right. Well, what I'm going to tell both of you is this, is that I'm not entering an order against parents for the behavior of their children. That's not what we do here. You're going to have to figure out different ways of working through this, working with the school administration, speaking to each other, trying to be, parents who are concerned about the behaviors of your child and trying to figure out how those children learn to exist in a world in which, things don't always go their way. Whatever the issue is, I don't know beyond what I've read, but the court can't get involved in this, because essentially what that really means is if I enter a protection order here against either one of you and your child acts up, then potentially either one of you goes to jail. And that's not what we're all about. We're not going to put parents in the position of going to jail based on the behavior of a second grader or a third grader. And we don't have a school for parents. I can't make you take classes. I can't make you do anything in that regard for being a good parent. So you each, I believe, are thinking you're acting in the best interests of your child, and I hope you continue to act in the best interests of your child, but recognize here that getting the court involved is not in the best interests of your child. There's nothing the court can do in this regard.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Ms. Meyer, yeah.
So this is about the kid. Dee Dee does record quite a bit. And it's the point where I'm here to leave my house because of it.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. If the two of you are in the position that you believe that in defense of your child, your relationship is such that you can't speak with each other in a polite and courteous manner, then I'm going to strongly suggest you don't say anything at all to each other. Ms. Meyer has made very clear that she doesn't want any contact from Ms. Hartfield, and I suspect Ms. Hartfield feels the same about contact from Ms. Meyer.
You are correct. I don't want any contact with her.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. So I'm going to expect both of you to follow through on that. You know, if you have complaints about the other's child, you raise it with the school district, you raise it with the apartment manager, but you don't raise it with each other. That has clearly not been effective to this date. I've read that how you both react to each other. And so the court's not going to intervene telling you how to raise your children, and it's not going to intervene telling the children how to behave. So you're going to have to figure out ways as a parent to deal with that issue. But I strongly urge you not to have any contact with one another because that isn't healthy. All right, I will issue a denial. There was never an order entered in this case, but there will not be an order entered today, with the exception of, we'll disclose this hearing. This is not an avenue to proceed to resolve the matter that the two of you are trying to deal with. And just ask both of you to be reflective on how best to serve your child and also model proper relationships for your children, because they're watching and seeing how the two of you react to each other, because that's how they'll react to each of your children. So I think it really is time now for the parents to show appropriate response to conflict, which isn't to encourage it, but it's to mitigate it. All right. Thank you both very much.
Thank you. Do we just leave now?
You may, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Ms. Amber Centeno, is that a yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You may be seated. Ms. Centeno, Araceli Centeno is either your husband or ex-husband's stepmother, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And as I understand it, the issue is she continues to contact you. You don't want her to contact you. And she would like to be able to see a grandchild, which isn't her grandchild by blood, but nonetheless, she wants to see the grandchild. Is that really what we're talking about here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add? I've read what you filed, so I was just summarizing it.
Yeah, I tried to be nice, cordial, and respectful, and try to set expectations, but after being that way, I couldn't trust her. She had no sympathy. Me for domestic violence and with my back then, and it just seems like she keeps bringing me with these, mocking me, lightly talking that I'm mentioning the kids in a way of trying feel like she just wants to take them. I don't have a problem with the grandfather. It's just her that I don't feel comfortable being around someone that hates me for no valid reason, tries to make me feel like my vote is not valid for what I went through, and I went through last year. So I just don't want to deal knowing that I have with my, once it's over next, he's gonna not have any and keep on emailing me hurtful things, mentioning my, just to trigger me even more.
When was the last time you heard from her?
I received, I also forgot to mention I have a witness as well, my older sister. She's here present. She put in her, but the last time is May 2nd. Once by email, he somehow got my phone number, which really concerned me because she didn't have it. I have a phone number now, email. So I opened up court documents specifically for my house that I sent over there because he says he lived. She got my phone number, and then never talked about suicide or any of that stuff. So he opened up the court document to read that, to contact me, or telling her that, which against the protection. So that concerned me. I also last year I called the cop just for advice of what to do with the situation with her, and he just said just go if she's not willing to be respectful about the situation. Haven't contacted the beginning of last year, but last year after she came by to pick my spouse's things.
All right. And have you, in your mind, have you made clear to Ms. Centeno that you don't want her to contact you?
Yeah, yes, I did. The email when I tried to set up visit and be cordial, and she responded of triggering why, knowing that I know that they are, just to get me to, and I guess I just, that's when I called the cop. But I told her I don't have a problem with the grandfather, the children's grandfather, but I don't want anything to do with her. But she is the reason why that they can't see the kids. I can't trust that, take them or let my spouse see them against the protection order. I can't trust them. They've lied to me so many times. Made me feel belittled. My feelings not. I just don't want anything to do with them.
And you believe that this has been made clear to Ms. Centeno since last August?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Centeno?
Yes.
Anything you want to say?
Yes.
Remember, I've read what you filed, so I understand that.
Yeah, just basically, I had no contact at all. I haven't seen the grandkids or her physically since almost a year. Ever since the court, when they had to issue her and her husband, that I went with him to court, the judge asked her if it was okay for me to pick up his stuff, and she was fine with that. We had no problems at all. She even told the judge if it was me, it was fine, and that's why I was set up. After I got there, it was a totally different situation, which I was confused why she pushed the grandkids in and her sister was outside. I never spoken to her sister till that particular day. And I just asked her for Amber. She said, she don't want to see you. You can't see the kids. I told my husband in Spanish very clear, let's pick up the things and go. My husband doesn't know English, like conversational. He'll know like, hello, goodbye, come here, go, words, but he can't make a phrase. I said, let's pick up and go. After that, I sent her an email and I said, I can't believe what you did, pushing everything that happened. And it's like everything against what you told the judge. You said it was fine and now you say it's not fine. With that said, I had no contact physically, nothing until now, almost a year later. I don't know nothing about her, nothing with the grandkids because they have such big situations going on between her and her husband. I keep getting these mails, like mails and mails. He don't live in my house. He never had. When he left her house, he did not come to my house. He gave the court, I'm not sure which ones is the other court, his address. I don't know why she don't send everything to his address. Now, with that said, many cops been coming to my house, giving me papers for him and everything. And I've been taking them to give it to him, but he don't live in my house. Now,
okay, and that's why you contacted her was?
Then I contacted recently, after a year, because I haven't spoken to her, we haven't seen the grandkids, just for them to figure out what's going on. I told her, can you please stop sending cops and everything? HOA doesn't look good on my HOA. My neighbors are things that were probably doing something really bad. The cops are not even for me until now. I just got served. So I guess with that, it's bothering her because I don't want anything, the mail, or whatever has to do with her spouse, we're not responsible for. We don't have nothing to do what happened between them. I always been the middle person, when they had the issues before. I gave her advice. We spent Many times we went shopping, kids, Christmases, barbecues in my house. That's why I uploaded a picture so you could see that we always had good contact with the kids and with her. I understand the situation now, but don't mix that with us or with me, because she knows exactly how I'm with the kids. I might not be the blood grandma, but to me, they're like my grandkids. You know, I've been married to Mr. Centeno for years. You know, we've been there for the kids since day one. We've been there for both of them when they were together, her and her spouse. So I think she was just upset because I said no more mailing to my house, and that's when I got served with harassment.
Did you say anything else other than?
I told her, you know, whatever she felt. I don't want to say the word here, but in depression or other stuff, we were there always for the kids. Our doors are always open.
Okay, all right.
And I talk loud because this is the way it is. When I talk this way, people think I'm arguing, especially when you hear me in Spanish. We talk fast and loud. We're not arguing. We're just loud.
We need to be loud in here so we can hear each other.
Sorry, Anna.
No, that's fine.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah. Ms. Centeno, what was the tenor of the text you received, Aracelis here recently?
She stated that he did not hear she would send everything sent.
Okay, you're cutting in and out with your audio, so you're going to need to make sure you're right up next to your microphone so we're not losing what you're saying.
Okay, Your Honor. She said she would send back all the sent to him. And she said he doesn't want, and don't bother if you don't want us to see this. She said if you feel suicidal, you can reach out and we'll take care of the poor grandkids. Hope you're still unsure. Need it. So that's what she sent to me.
Okay. And the reason that you send the filings to the home, the ones that you're sending to your spouse or ex-spouse, and the reason you send them to their home is why? Why?
Because last year during all the court cases, he stated that he was there, and he found that's the address. That's where all the court stuff is being sent there. I sent paperwork there because after I called the cop, he moved out. That's where he went. And in court document showing his real address of where he currently stays at right now. That's why I still continue to send it because I don't know where he lives. Nor will he's emailing me so much. He could have just sent his real address and all the other statements made.
And do you have a current address for him now? Ms. Centeno says he's no longer there.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure where he lives now.
And what's his address now, Ms. Centeno?
I have it at home. I don't.
Okay, so you don't know it offhand.
I do have it. I could give it to the court. And one more thing, personal belongings. I think they have a no contact order, and I'm getting personal belongings through the mail also, not just mail.
Okay.
That involves the door. Your Honor, can I make?
Go ahead.
She mentioned about when she came to personal items. Yes, I specifically asked the judge, can I have a cop be present, Alejandro, to pick up his belongings? For some reason, the judge didn't do that. Offered Miss Aracelis the stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you, Ms. Centeno. I've read what you've said about that. I've read what your sister has said about that. So
okay.
And I've heard what Aracelis has said about that this morning. So I think I've seen information regarding that from all the perspectives here.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. In this case, the petitioner, Ms. Centeno, has a protection order. And is it ex-spouse or your spouse?
He's my current spouse.
Okay.
It's a divorce.
As a protection order against her spouse, Ms. Aracelis Centeno is the stepmother of Ms. Centeno's spouse. The existence of that order seems to have, in the court's opinion, caused issues between the parties. And the fact that there are grandchildren involved here also exacerbates that. There was an exchange of personal belongings that was attempted to occur back in August, and that didn't go smoothly, and the parties have different views of why that didn't go smoothly. And Ms. Amber Centeno has made it clear to Aracelis Centeno that she does not wish to have contact with her, and Aracelis Centeno, the respondent in this matter, seemed to have honored that for a period of time, but then it claims that she got tired of receiving packages directed towards her stepson at her home. She says that he does not live there, and those are either personal belongings or filings that are needed in the context of the relationship between Ms. Centeno and her spouse. And she initiated contact again this spring. Based on those facts, I am going to enter a protection order and direct Aracelis Centeno to have no contact with Amber Centeno in any fashion. You're not to go within 1,000 feet of the residence. You're to have no contact with Adiah and Joshua. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not making a ruling as to the ability to contact grandchildren in this case. That's an issue for family court. Pursuant to this order, you're subject to that portion of this order. However, that can be amended by family court if grandparents go in to file an action to assert parental rights as grandparents. That's a different issue entirely, and that's not what this court is weighing in on. So you're not to go within 1,000 feet. Aracelis Centeno, you're not to go within 1,000 feet of Amber personally, her residence, or the residents, the minors of the school of the minors. Okay. Amber Centeno, this order is in effect for 1 year from today's date. If you need it renewed, you'll have to come back to court and petition the court for a renewal order.
Yes, Your Honor.
A copy of this order will be provided to Aracelis Centeno since she is in the courtroom, and Amber Centeno, a copy will be available for you in the file you have at district court, the electronic file that you can access.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you both. And Aracelis, you can stay right where you are and we'll get you a copy of that. Activate your audios, please. All right, I've read what's been filed in this case from Ms. Peterson. Mr. Smith hasn't filed anything. And essentially, Ms. Peterson, you are fearful of Mr. Smith and you felt compelled to move out of the state based on that level of fear. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
All right. Both raise your right hand. Is that a yes, Mr. Smith?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Smith, anything you want to say?
No, I don't plan on having contact with Gracie. So.
Okay. And Ms. Peterson, two of you have a child in common, is that correct?
The baby's died.
I'm sorry?
The baby died.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. And two of you used to reside together?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And do you work, Ms. Peterson? Do you go to school?
I'm not in school. I work in the state that I now live in.
Right. In this case, As indicated, the parties had a child together. That child is since deceased. And Ms. Peterson reports that she'd previously been physically abused by Mr. Smith on more than one occasion, and that he reaches out to her even though she has left the state to let her know that she can't escape him and that he will not leave her alone. Clearly, she has a high degree of fear concerning contact with Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith has indicated he is not going to have any contact with Ms. Peterson. I will grant Ms. Peterson's request for a domestic violence protection order. Mr. Smith, you are to have no contact at all with Ms. Peterson. You are not to have your sister contact her. You're not to have anybody else contact her. You are prohibited from engaging in any behavior which the court construes as stalking, and that's defined in the order that I've signed. So creating false accounts, contacting her through other means, nothing. Any indication of that subjects you to criminal charges under the domestic violence statute, and those can be significant. So I make sure you understand that and are aware of that.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're not to go within 1,000 feet of Ms. Peterson, her residence, or her workplace. Ms. Peterson, this order is in effect for 1 year from today's date. If you want it renewed, you have to petition the court for a renewal of that order.
Thank you.
Because Mr. Smith appeared today, he does not need to be served with a copy of this order, but it is available to each of you in the file with district court, and you can each access that order, so you have it for your information.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On this Zoom screen, but you now seem to have
Sidling,
logged out.
sorry.
I'm sorry?
My last name is Sidling. I'm one of the caregivers at
Okay,
Purchase
there you
Riley.
go. All right, so, and you are Ms. Ammon? Okay, come on up to the table up here, Ms. Ammon. And Ms. Seidling, we're going to start out with you.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about the home here.
Is it okay if Riley speaks for herself?
Yeah, if we get to that point, then sure, but I just need to know about the home. I don't need to know what's going on between Ms. Higley and Ms. Ammon. I need to know what the status of the home is. It sounds like a group home.
Understood. So Riley works with a supported living agency. Ms. Ammon is not part of that same agency. Riley just happens to live in the same apartment building as her. They do not live on the same floor, but they do frequently interact with each other in the common areas of the apartment complex.
And the apartment is just a normal apartment complex, or it's an apartment complex that's staffed by social service agencies? Can you fill me in on that?
It's an apartment complex. It's not necessarily staffed, but it's restricted to individuals age 55 and older.
Okay.
Reserved, Your Honor.
Okay. And Ms. Seidling, tell me, what's the agency you work with?
I work with Kukua Services.
Okay, and I'm not familiar with that. Is that a private agency?
We're a nonprofit supported living agency. So we just help other individuals with various levels of disability live in residential settings, like apartments or homes and whatnot.
Okay, and you work with Ms. Higley?
Higley, Honor.
Yes, I'm one of the administrators in our office.
Okay. All right. Okay, Ms. Higley?
Yeah, Your Honor, yes.
And I'm going to have you and Ms. Ammon first raise your right hands.
Like this?
Yep. Yes, very good. Do you swear the testimony in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Higley, you go ahead.
Oh, I'm scared. Okay, I'm very nervous, Your Honor, so I'm going to try my best, okay?
Yeah.
I have been living at the reserves for maybe about since February of this year, Your Honor, and I have been I've been like harassed as a vulnerable adult, and she has been targeting my staff and me, and she will not leave me alone. She has verbally abused me, banging on my door. and just not being friendly to me. We have documentation about all that's been going on with her, and I'm getting really scared, Your Honor. So can she speak for me a little bit?
Sure. And
Thank you.
Ms. Seidling, what have you seen personally yourself?
I haven't personally witnessed anything since I'm not one of the staff who are with Riley 24/7. I review the reports that we get generated through our therapy program. And I've seen a few staff reports indicating that Riley has been working on workbooks in the common areas when Amanda will approach her, and she uses a lot of derogatory words, especially words that specifically target individuals with disabilities. There's been reports from the staff in the home as well that she's been pulling the staff aside and threatening to get Riley kicked out. I'm not sure if she's referencing the agency or the apartment or possibly both. There's also been reports that Amanda has been going to other residents and informing them not to engage with Riley at all. There's just been a lot of concern about the emotional impact this has had on Riley since she works really hard on her mental health, but this has been very anxiety inducing for her, and she doesn't feel safe going to the common areas without staff.
Your Honor, and another thing is, I have autism, and so, I'm usually a routine person every day, and I can't even do that now because I am so scared. I'm really scared of her.
All right.
And being a vulnerable adult is really, really hard, and verbally abusing somebody is not a cool thing to be doing, Your Honor. And I have been physically sick. I have been mentally, emotionally sick to my head. I have I've been not eating very well, not sleeping very well, Your Honor. I've had nightmares and everything. This is really hard on me, Your Honor, because I have PTSD, Your Honor, and I have learning disabilities and all kinds of stuff. And when she approached me a while ago in front of my staff, Emmy, we were at bingo, and she was referencing me like she would go up to Emmy and said, "You need to control these people. These people need to be controlled, and they don't do anything right." Just things like that, Your Honor. And she just picked up.
All right.
And so I have been through this once before, and it's not fun at all, Your Honor. And I am so scared right now, So I felt like she was telling me that I was a retard, because of my disabilities and stuff, and I don't feel good being around her. And last Friday, or the Friday before that, after bingo one night, we came back up to our apartment. After bingo, about 8 o'clock, we were in there. There was Emmy, there was Ray, there was Dawn, and there was me and my roommate, Marcia, and somebody. So she comes and bangs on the door and starts yelling at my staff that we didn't clean up our mess after bingo. I mean, she's got friends that are watching me and looking at me and stuff, making sure that I'm doing something wrong so they can report it to her, Your Honor. It's just that this isn't the first time. There's other residents too that are having the same issue with her. And, Your Honor, and it's really, really hard on me because it's really easy for me, Your Honor, to end up in a psych hospital and everything too because of my mental illness. I suffer from borderline personality disorder. I suffer a learning disability. Okay, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm just scared.
No, that's okay. You can take a breath.
So anyway, I've been reporting a lot of this to my staff as it's happening to me, because we need to document it so that it doesn't come back on me saying that I'm a liar and that this stuff hasn't happened and everything. But I have witnessed Amanda approaching my staff, Myra, the other day and said that you need to give me the company's phone number and you need to let me call because I'm going to complain about myself, Your Honor. And it's all documented what she's doing. Bad nightmares where I'm afraid she's going to shoot me with a gun or hang me or something, in my dreams. I can't even go down to the common area at all because she knows my routine. So she's actually going to be down there, and it's just horrible feeling, I mean, I can't live like this, Your Honor, but I want to stay here. So it's not my problem that she's picking on me. You know, I don't know what her beef is about me and my disabilities and stuff like that. I don't know. But I want her to please stay away from me. I don't want any contact with her. I want to be able to go play bingo at night and not have to be scared. You know, not have to look over my shoulder all the time, wondering if she's going to hurt me or something, you know.
And thank you, Ms. Higley.
Okay.
And Ms. Seidling, is staff there 24/7? Are they there?
Yes, she shares one staff member. There's always at least one person staffed in her apartment 24 hours. They're split into 3 shifts, and we've seen the most reports from individuals who work in the evening and on the grave shift. The individual who works graves also picks up day shifts on weekends. So there's been a smattering of times when these interactions have occurred.
Okay. And I see from the things that have been filed that they file the reports and they send them to you or Ms. Looks like Blackmore. 2 of you have managerial relationships to the staff.
Yes, so Brianna Blackmore is the manager of the site specifically, and I'm her supervisor. I do have her here in the room as well. We just have a limited space, so I haven't been able to fit everyone on camera.
All right. Yeah, I did read the reports filed by the staff, and just unrelated to the substance of the reports, I would just indicate to you, and you probably are fully aware of this, if the staff use punctuation more in what they're filing with you, it would be a lot easier for me to understand what they're trying to tell me in their written reports.
I understand completely. That has
okay. Yeah. Just thought I would share that with you.
That is funny.
Yeah, you can tell them that, Miss Higley.
I will tell them that, Your Honor. I'll keep them on their toes for you, Your Honor.
Okay, good. All right, but I have read all the reports that were filed with this case that they did file with the court. All right, I'm going to let Ms. Ammon have her say. Ms. Ammon?
Okay, first, Your Honor, not in a trillion years would I ever use cuss words toward a disabled person. That's not me. I have a son who's 22 years old who just passed away, and he's 3 different types of dwarfism. And he's got the mentality of he had the mentality of a 4-year-old, and his name is Alex Alexander. I have a niece that lives here in Lacey who has severe autism, and she's been in my life every day. I live on the 4th floor. It's called the Reserve. 55 and older is what it's called. When I first met Riley, she was sweet, and we had conversations, and I was sitting in a book club, and she came over and wanted to join. And everything was good, and she is very high functioning from what I can tell, 29 years working with disabled adults. 2 days later, we were in the main lobby and we heard screaming. And so we all ran into the main common area. Riley was accusing almost a 70-year-old man of abusing her, yelling at this man who sits over at the other common area and does nothing but puzzles. He's an African-American Black man. She told him, "Get away from me, you're abusing me. I've been abused. I was abused by my father, and you're targeting me." Riley goes around using that word a lot, and she is not supervised at all by staff. They were asked why she didn't have staff. They said she didn't need staff, that she could go anywhere and do anything she wanted in the facility. Riley started following people, asking questions about me. I told Riley about a week after I knew her that I did not want to associate with her. And she asked me why. And I said, because you have used the word targeted. You have used the word, I've been abused. And either you're my friend or you're my enemy. And if you read the statement, she has made comments like that to many people. Riley goes around that facility and she has no staff. She goes and does everything that we do. She's involved in bingo. I am one of the bingo staff there. And the caller, the elderly man, We do cleanup and setup. He noticed some food every time Riley sat down. The only thing that was asked by her, and it was asked in the bingo room with the staff right here, that you guys were leaving messes. And if you read the rules, we all clean up our own tables and stuff like that. Riley turned around and said, well, you're targeting me and my staff. She's shaking her head now. She says, that's abuse. You guys are abusing me. While we were doing bingo, Riley called me and Eva over, who are bingo staff, and she said, those ladies behind the table are talking about me. They're harassing me. And, you know, we didn't know what to do. So I went over to the table and I said to the people, are you guys saying anything about this new person here? Her name's Riley and her staff. And they all just looked around and said, no, we didn't even know she was sitting behind us. This seems to be an everyday comment that Riley makes. A lot of people there that I've talked to say they stay away from her because she's dangerous. And she is dangerous, Your Honor. You can't go up to somebody and say, either you're my friend or you're my enemy, and I have a staff and agencies that will back me up on what I say. She has made several comments like that. And as of cussing and swearing, no, not in a trillion years would I ever do that. A trillion years. I do not cuss and I do not lie.
And did you go up and knock on her door, pound on her door?
Yes, with Eva. Eva was with me, one of the other staff. They had brought some dishes. Everybody brings like dishes to the bingo to share. There was a plate that was left there and we were trying to figure out who it was. And somebody said, oh, I think that's Riley, and the other roommate she lives with that's disabled brought that. So we brought it back to them. We knocked on the door. We said, we think this is yours. That's all that's ever been done, Your Honor. That is all that's ever been done. Riley uses her disability to intimidate and threaten people. And that's why I told Riley, I can't be your friend anymore. I don't want to associate with you. And she asked me why. And I said, because you can't use those words that you're abusing me, Riley, to make friends. I said, you can't say that to people. And she just looked at me, grabbed her books and stomped away. And it's the truth on her. And she has said that to several people. And I've got another letter here where she's following people to their apartments. Like when I'm talking to one of my friends, then she goes and she follows that person to their apartments. She knocked on this one lady's door 3 times. And this lady gets up at 6 in the morning and goes to work wanting information about me. And they said, well, why do you want to know Amanda's apartment number and stuff? She goes, I want to give her a thank you card. And she said, well, you'll see Amanda at bingo tomorrow, so you can give her the thank you card. I never got a thank you card. This is behavior I don't want to be around. And the 10 feet temporary order is working because the only time you ever see Riley really is in the kitchen doing like book work, or she is at bingo. And that's the only time you see a staff with her is at bingo. Otherwise, she's roaming around by herself a lot. But this African-American guy now, for 4 years, he's been sitting in the back room doing puzzles. He now took his puzzles and we set him up a table in his apartment because he's scared of her.
All right.
Yeah, so I don't know what else to say, but she just can't go around telling people that, you know, I've been abused and I understand you've been abused and I'm very sorry that that happened in your life. But you can't go around telling people either you're my friend or my enemy, and my agency will back me up 100%. To us, that's a threat that if we don't socialize with you, then you're going to do this, exactly what you're doing today. And that's how I feel, Your Honor.
All right.
And I was the only one that would stood up to her and said that to her.
Okay.
She knows from right from wrong. She's a very high functioning person,
right.
very high
thank you,
functioning indeed.
All right.
So she knows what she's doing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Riley, anything else you want to say?
Yes, Your Honor. Okay. First
Yes.
of all, I did not follow anybody to their apartments, Your Honor. I don't do that. I don't go on other people's floors. I stay right down where I'm at right now. And the second of all is I am not going around saying targeted all the time either. You know, I feel very intimidated by her, really bad. It is such scary for me. I can't come out of my apartment or anything now because I don't feel safe with her. And I just want her to quit lying about me. I don't do those things. She left a note on my door. Or, Your Honor, yeah. You know, she's just, I mean, I don't understand.
Don't have evidence that it was her.
Oh yeah, Your Honor, we don't have the evidence that she did that. But anyways, Your Honor, I just feel scared. And I haven't done anything wrong to anybody. I just sit there doing my own thing, math, reading, listening to music, you know, and stuff. That's all I do. I'm not a troublemaker, Your Honor. I am not. Go ahead. Your Honor.
If I may as well, Ms. Ammon has referenced Riley's lack of supervision. I wanted to make a quick statement on that.
I can't even.
DDA has indicated that she does not need one-on-one staffing 24 hours. She has 24-hour staff available to her, and she actively has a plan with the agency that as long as she has her cell phone charged and she remains within the apartment complex, that she can be as independent as she is able to. We have had many meetings with her about how to respectfully set boundaries and respect others. But at this time, her DDA caseworker does not feel like she needs more support than what she's already been given.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Honor, I have a letter right here from somebody where she was coming to their apartment 3 times. And they finally told her, do not come to our appointment. We want to get involved in your drama. Please leave us alone. And this is the lady that gets up at 6 and goes to work every morning.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ammon. Okay. I know there was no protection order initially entered in this case, and I'm not going to enter one today. What I am going to say is Ms. Ammon, that Ms. Higley has made very clear she doesn't want you to contact her. So you're not to go to her apartment. And this isn't a court order, but I'm just telling you, she's asking you not to go to her apartment, that you not say anything to her. Just don't deal with her.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
say nothing to her.
I don't want her.
Okay, now if that, okay, hold on.
Sorry.
If that happens, then she can come back to court and say, after we had this whole hearing at the court, that Ms. Ammon continues to contact me. She, comes to my apartment, whatever. And then the court may change my mind, or whoever the judge is, they may do something different. But at this point, I'm not going to enter an order, but I want you to leave Ms. Higley alone, say nothing to her. And if you have issues, you can talk to her staff, or you can talk to the apartment managers, but you're not to speak to Ms. Higley.
Right.
And we'll see if that can create some peaceful coexistence between the two of you.
Yeah, I would like to ask for the 10-foot order.
Hold on. And Ms. Higley, Ms. Ammon has asked that you not have any contact with her. So I suggest you don't say anything to her, and just see if we can create some ability for both of you to have your own peaceful space at the reserve where you both feel comfortable. And I've indicated to Ms. Ammon that she's not to speak with you directly and not to go to your apartment. And if that happens, you are welcome to refile an order and tell me that after we had this conversation, that it continues, and then we can re-examine the issue. But for now, I'm going to trust that both of you will understand the requests from each of you, and you will each, being good people, will honor that request. And Ms. Ammon, you'll have no contact with Ms. Higley at all.
I won't go to her apartment, and I won't talk to her. But she does need to know that if I go to a common area, I do 4 different activities. I do bingo, I do crafts, and I do bookmark. So if she happens to be in the same room, that is not considered contact.
Yeah, I said you're not to have any contact with her. It doesn't mean you can't do the things you do at the reserve, and it doesn't mean that Ms. Higley can't do the things that she does at the reserve.
I agree with that.
I just don't need the two of you speaking to one another, because you both have made clear that's an issue.
Right.
So, and, Ms. Higley, I know you've said this, and I'll just go ahead and clarify a little bit about this, is that the court can't order somebody not to say something to somebody else about a person. there's no authority for me to tell people they can't say mean things about somebody. That's not something the court has the ability to regulate. I hope that that doesn't happen. And I'll hope that this making clear that you don't want any contact from Ms. Ammon will help you feel more comfortable in the spaces that you're living in at the reserve. And if that's the case, then I think Ms. Ammon will also feel more comfortable as the two of you share those spaces.
Yep. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Have a good day, sir.
You too.